In a small American town surrounded by quiet hills and wide open fields, lived a young man named Mason who always believed life owed him something. He watched others chase their dreams, work long hours and build their futures, while he waited for the perfect chance to fall into his hands. Every morning he sat on the same old wooden bench near the town library, scrolling through his phone. Imagining a luxurious life without lifting a finger, he wanted success, but he did not want the struggle that came with it. One chilly morning, while Mason sat daydreaming, the town held its annual community food drive. People lined up near a long table where volunteers handed out warm meals, homemade cookies, and canned goods. Mason, who was always searching for something free, walked straight to the line, hoping to get an extra meal just for himself. Near the end of the line stood an older woman named Mrs. Harding, a retired schoolteacher known for her kindness. She handed Mason a small bag of food and said gently, "I hope this helps. But remember, son, the world gives the most to those who give something back." Mason smiled, nodded, and walked away without thinking much about her words as he sat under a large maple tree eating his sandwich. He began imagining a future where he became rich without trying. Maybe someone would discover him. Maybe he'd win a lottery. Maybe success would simply appear. He imagined owning a mansion on a hill, a big truck, a successful business that ran itself, and millions of dollars. He imagined buying anything he wanted, traveling across the states, and becoming someone important. He imagined everything except the effort it took to get there just then. As he leaned back, the bag of food slipped from his hands, falling into a puddle. The sandwich, the cookies, everything was soaked. Mason froze. He had nothing left now, and no one else would give him another bag. He felt a sudden heaviness in his chest. For the first time, he realized how fragile his life had become, relying on luck, kindness, and wishes instead of action. He quietly gathered the ruined food and threw it away. Walking slowly through the town, the sun was setting, and the streetlights flickered on as he passed by a small repair shop. He noticed the same woman, Mrs. Harding, standing beside a broken bicycle. A young boy next to her was crying softly. Mason hesitated, but something inside him pushed him forward. He walked over and asked if they needed help. Mrs. Harding looked up surprised and said, "The chain broke and I don't know how to fix it." Mason didn't know either, but he knelt down and tried. After a few minutes and several attempts, he managed to fix it. The boy's face lit up and he whispered, "Thank you." Mason felt something he had not felt in years. Pride, not the kind that comes from dreaming big, but the kind that comes from doing something real. Mrs. Harding placed her hand on his shoulder and said gently, "See what happens when you try." Mason didn't sleep that night. Her words kept echoing in his mind. He realized he had spent years waiting for miracles, while life kept passing him by the next morning. Before sunrise, he walked to the repair shop and asked the owner for work. The man looked at him carefully and said, "I don't need a full-time worker, but I can teach you if you're willing to learn." Mason nodded, and for the first time, his nod was sincere. Days turned into weeks. He swept floors, fixed old bikes, learned basic machinery, and slowly customers began to know his name. He stopped waiting for luck and started showing up every day, rain or shine. And though he didn't become rich overnight, he became something far more important: reliable, trusted, respected. One evening, as Mason closed the shop, he saw his old bench near the library, The place where he wasted so many days, he walked past it without stopping. In that moment, he understood success doesn't come to the ones who sit and hope. It comes to the ones who stand up and work, even when they don't feel ready, even when it's hard, even when they fear failing. Mason had finally discovered the truth. He didn't need a miracle. He just needed to begin and to keep going, no matter how slow, because every step forward counts, and every small effort adds up. And in the quiet glow of the streetlights, he whispered to himself, "If I can rise once, I can rise again and again."